Hello, I'm Simone and I'm a counselling psychologist, and I'm going to encourage you today to kill off your parents. And I mean it metaphorically, obviously, but I do mean it. And the parent that you need to kill off isn't the real one that's alive or dead, or the one that you're not speaking to. It's the one that lives in your head. It's the idealised one, the version who you hold on to, who would have shown up if you'd just been easier or quieter or not so much. It's like the one that you keep auditioning for over and over again, only they keep sort of failing the audition and you keep being devastated like it's the first time. That parent has to go. And in object relations, we call this like an idealised object within us. And the reason it's so hard to let go of is because it's doing a job to split the parents. Like you keep the longed for parent intact over here, shiny and safe, because if you had to merge them with the actual parent that you have, means you'd have to hold both at once, and it's hard. And in schema therapy, we sort of name it more plainly. We say there is a child part of you that is still waiting and still hoping that this time it might be different. So the idealised parent is the parent that little you is waiting for. So the first move isn't actually anger, it's grief. And not the complicated grief that sort of takes you by surprise, but intentional grief. You're going to deliberately mourn for the parent that you yearned for, but you never got. And it's because this is grief that you weren't actually allowed to feel, you weren't given permission for, because nobody actually died. It's ambiguous because there's no funeral for the mother that couldn't soothe you, or the father that wasn't there or was dismissive or authoritarian, but the loss is still real. It's unsanctioned, but you carry it as like something else, your own deficiency, or a sense that you're too much or not enough. But you really need to grieve it properly as a loss, which means you don't skip the anger or the sorrow. And I know the instinct very well to sort of be reasonable and logical and grateful and say, oh, you know, they did their best, they had a hard time, and maybe they did. But actually metabolizing your own feelings and sort of trying to bypass it are not the same thing, and your nervous system actually knows the difference. So your feelings are valid, they were always valid, and you have to sort of let them move through you rather than around you. And the trouble is, the real parent will occasionally be maybe lovely, and maybe they'll show up for you, and maybe they'll remember something. And then the trouble is that wound sort of reactivates and you go, oh, see, that's who I want. They're really nice sometimes. I just have to find how to get them to stay. But that's like the split reactivating. It's like a sort of fantasy that refuses to die. And your job is just to hold on to the whole person who can be warm on like a Tuesday evening and then absent for a decade. You have to hold on to both. The fact that people are just sort of limited human beings. And in psychology, we call that individuation, which is becoming a self that isn't organised around a wound, around getting them to like finally see you. And it ends when you let something much quieter in, which is not forgiveness, but acceptance of the real parent, not the one you wanted, but the one that actually exists. And this really matters, and it's why I would do the work even if you never speak to them again, because we all look for our parents in other people. We do. We look for our parents in our partners, in our friends, in our bosses, in the people we fall the hardest for. And the question isn't whether you'll reach for it. You will. We all do. The question is whether you are reaching from like a scar or an open wound. Because I think scars are kind of quite honest. It says, well, this happened to me, it shaped me, I can feel it, I can see it, I can touch it, regardless of whether the weather changes. You can love from a scar, you can choose well from a scar, but a bleeding wound just bleeds, and it bleeds over whoever is nearest. And it can mistake intensity for love, it can mistake abandonment for familiarity, and it will just keep recruiting people to play the parent that failed you, and then breaking against them when they can't. So my appeal is that you kill off your idealised parent. You grieve the parent that you actually needed, and then go and build a secure base. Not out of a wound that's still open, but out of a scar that you finally made peace with. The way that I would do this is I would make 2 columns. I would just have one, the fantasy parent that you wish for, and the other, the real parent that you've got. And then intentionally allow yourself to feel some type of way about that. This is really painful work, and I wish you all the best with it. It's not going to be appropriate for everybody with their parent-child relationships, but it certainly worked for me. Okay. Bye.
My daddy died. Mommy cried, daughter eyed.